Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of my podcast. Today, I'd like to talk about my experience on living with other people because a part of this experience, a short experience in Australia, I've never lived for such a long time. I'm regardless like living with friends and the summer. Apart of that, beside that, I've never lived with other people that I've never met before. So it was quite a new experience, very different from what I've expected, and yeah. But let's get straight. So I arrived in Australia, Melbourne, on 29th of October, I guess, 29th of October. And I bought, I took up an apartment, actually, in a room in an apartment, North Melbourne, I guess, North Melbourne. And it was very near from the CBD. CBD is the center of Melbourne, and basically is the free tram zone. So if you want to understand, if you want to know if you are in the CBD or not, just like look up the tram, and if you are in the free tram zone. Actually, you are in the CBD. So this is like how they understand the CBD, how they figure out the CBD. And North Melbourne is right on or north, and maybe on the west, I guess, on the west a little bit. But I was near Queen Victoria Market, and basically it's the biggest marketplace for sure in Melbourne, maybe in Australia. It's a big market, and there is fresh food, fresh meat, fresh vegetables, and I guess that it's pretty famous in Melbourne. So maybe in the early morning or especially on Saturday, there is a hell of people over there because it's very cheap, and you can get a very good food for fresh, especially from the farmers. So I took a room in this apartment. I didn't know anything about this, and so I just arrived there around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. And I didn't have any idea what to expect. I just arrived there, and I remember that I've seen a couple on the kitchen cooking, and so I was trying to figure out how to unlock, because like there was a locker, and inside that there is a key for your house, and so I was figuring out how to unlock this locker, and they opened the door and asked me if I was the next roommate, and I said yes, so they welcomed me, and I remember that I was pretty awkward, like the first 5 minutes of every conversation with strangers, it's always like a little bit awkward, and but they were so kind. I have a lot of good memories from that house, not from the physical house because it was terrible. It was very dirty, and very creepy, very small, and just yeah, this is a real fact. Fun fact is for entering the home in the garden, actually. I don't know in English how to say, but there was like from the shop, from the shop there is before the door there is something that you push down when you want to close and push up when you want to open. So at the end of the day and at the beginning of the day. So every time you have to come back at home, you have to pull this up and enter and then pull down. So there wasn't any actually door for the first part of this big house. So it was very, very, very weird. I've never seen that before. But I mean, it could be worse. So no complaints. And apart of that, there was this couple from Azerbaijan, I guess. I don't know in English if the same from Italy, but Azerbaijan is it's a small country, and I remember that we've spoken a lot about the Azerbaijan and the Italy culture. I remember that one time on Sunday lunch, we ate after I already had the lunch, but they haven't yet. So because I didn't have to do nothing, so I just chilled and stay with them, and so they told me a lot of things about Azerbaijan, the culture, the city, how does it work in general, and I told her a little bit about Italy, how does it work, and it was a good time, especially because this kind of experience is very difficult to live it in Italy. It's very, very difficult to live them in Italy, and I'm pretty sure that it won't be the same. What I love from Melbourne is the open mind of every people and every culture that there is there. And it was something that I really, 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 really loved and still love. I mean, and I will love forever. And I'm pretty sure that I will come back sooner or later. Besides that, after that, I stayed there for 1 month, and it wasn't something that I was expecting, because so. The first part of my living was with this couple and another French guy. So there were 3 rooms, actually, bedroom. And after like 1 or 2 weeks, this French guy moved out, and we stayed only by ourselves. Maybe 3 or 4 days. From that, this is the problem, because a guy maybe from India, I guess, or Sri Lanka, I don't remember, came for the room. The problem is that he had a boyfriend from Asia, and a lot of times they spend the night together at our house. So the problem is that if you want to go to the toilet, maybe in the next morning, instead of 4 people, there are 5 people, and only 1 bathroom for 5 people. It's a big deal. If you never tried that, it will be better. But I don't know. It's something that you during the time you get used to. No, it's not a big deal. But yeah, So after that, maybe for the breakfast, I've never found problems. Maybe on the lunch and the dinner, but I was lucky because they usually eat later than the me. So it wasn't a big deal. But maybe sometimes when you have to cook, because it was a pretty small house, so you don't have any space, and if you are cooking, it's impossible to cook with another one because there isn't enough space. But it wasn't bad. So from that, during this period, I found the job, and then I looked for a house. It took me a little bit from what I expected, but at the end, I found a good apartment on South Bank. South Bank is under the river and under the CBD, but it's very, very near. It's close to CBD, so it's not very bad. And there are a lot of good apartment. It's maybe the richest beside the CBD, the richest neighborhood of Melbourne. So, I mean, it wasn't expensive in general, in average, but for me, a little bit. And the problem was that it was free from 10th of December, yeah. And my apartment where I was living during this period was free till 29th of November, obviously. So luckily, I found a friend who can host me, and so I slept at his home with his girlfriend from 29th to 10th of October. And in my life, every time, I really hate to take advantage of your generosity. And it was pretty hard for me because when you're not home, but you have to live there, for me, these are personal thoughts, it's very difficult to balance because I'm always thinking, oh, I'm asking too much. He's asked me, he's allow me to sleep here. Maybe it's too much, but then you have to live, you have to eat, you have to cook, you have to live your life. So if you don't care about anything, it's not a problem for you. I mean, who gives a fuck? I'm gonna do whatever I want. So it's not a problem for you. But for me, for myself, especially, that I'm really sensible to these kind of things, it was pretty difficult because I don't know, like for cooking, for stay in the on the sofa. I mean, I prefer to stay in my place, you know. So it was kind of educational. I would say it was kind of educational. From 10th of December to the end of my journey in Melbourne, I stayed in my apartment on South Bank. I was living with another guy. He was kind of old, like he was 38 years old, and obviously he's not old in general, but for a roommate, for a flatmate, he was kind of old, but I really enjoyed living with him. A part of the last part where I had to find a new flatmate, there wasn't a good vibes over there, but apart from that, it was very very particular. It was from Singapore, I guess. Yeah, Singapore. And he was very very funny. He was like the party boy, the real party boy. He was also a DJ, a producer. He was a producer, and where we had a lot of fun in this apartment. I was in the 12th floor, I guess. And in this building, there was a swimming pool, gym, barbecue area, and tennis camp. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't very bad. Obviously, it was a little bit expensive for me, but I was near the CBD, so you have take like the transportation cost and all the costs you have to sustain if you want to live outside the city. You have to take consideration of that. And from where I remember, I prefer to. I prefer to spend a little bit more, but I'm not gonna spend for the tram. I'm not gonna spend for the train because I'm very near to the CBD. So this was my kind of thoughts about this. So what about this adventure, this experience actually? So the problem a lot of times is he didn't want to cook while I was cooking, and what I've been understanding is don't put too much stress, So a lot of times there was this problem because maybe in the evening I wanted to cook, he wanted to cook. A lot of times I said, okay, let's cook together. I'm not preparing a lot of stuff, so I guess it's fine for both of us. And a lot of times, always, he told me that he didn't want to cook together. There wasn't enough time. And sometimes he let me cook, and sometimes I cook at first. And a lot of times I thought, okay, why are you saying that? I don't see the problem. But with the time I understood that living with other people is very difficult at the beginning because you always lived with your mentality and you always thought that how living is the only way to live is your way. And by the time I discovered that this is not real, this is not true. And living with others is is based on the balance, you are living with the strangers. You are living with people that maybe they not should be your friend. So because everybody is not your friend, so maybe you are different. And so staying in a place with somebody 24 hours is not easy. And if you can find a balance and create a place where you can live together in a good way, finally, it's a problem. And for creating this problem is very easy. It's based on the stress you can create around you're as a couple, let's say that. You're as a flatmates. Obviously, during the time, you will find something that you don't like, or something that he does very bad. And the trick here is to find the most important things that you don't like, that he needs to change, and don't have any problems to say to him or her. If you start to, and then maybe you can go to the extreme, so you will start to say everything that you don't like from him or her. But by doing that, you will create a bad environment, because he will start to argue to you everything that he doesn't like that you're doing. So then you create a fight between each other, and from that, it's always worse. So I understood. I think that it comes from the emotional intelligence. So I understood that why I have to put more pressure on our balance by asking him another time why you don't want to go with me. It's not necessary. You can wait one time, 20 minutes for cooking, and then maybe the next time you will cook first. And this is a little bit trick that you are gonna learn if you are living with someone, and try, because the goal is to live well, no? So maybe you can say whatever you want because you don't want to be restricted to what you want. But in the future, you will live in a hell, because now he's pissed off. So everything that you do and everything that you say is gonna be a problem, and you are gonna live in a hell, in a bad place. And does it worth it? In my opinion, no. I think that it comes from the maturity. I understand these little thoughts, level of thoughts that you learn by living that, and this come from 4 months of living with somebody, with somebody in general. And so yeah, I could have asked why you are being so I don't know, weird or whatever, or I could just go on and ignore this problem, because it's not actually a problem. Unless you are make a problem, it's not a problem if you want to go through without thinking about it. And from that, I've learned a lot of lessons, especially during the end of the stay, because I was running out of time, because I had to figure out where to go, when, how, with the friends. So I wasn't the only person in charge of taking decisions. So I couldn't do I couldn't do what I wanted to do in general, because we were a group, so we kind of figure out together what to do. So I had a date for going out from my place and go to Sydney, and I started to look for a flatmate 1 month ago, and I, because my my past experience with this house was very good. I took the house very quickly. There wasn't any problem, so I was fine. But at the end of the experience, I figure out what does it mean, like the stress and taking organize everything without be sure that you can leave the city. And I learned an important lesson that we'll talk about later. So it was like the beginning of October. I spoke with these guys, and we were ready to move out from Melbourne around the actually at the beginning of the February. It was the first plan. Then we've moved to around the middle of October. From that, so I started to look for a flatmate with the mindset that it wouldn't be difficult. We made a lot of inspections. The problem was that this flatmate was wanted a lot of things. So he wanted a long-term stay. This is the biggest problem because it's very hard to find a minimum 6 month stay, the length of stay person. Also, he wanted to be physically in the inspections to speak with the guys and feel that the vibe that they are okay, and he wanted to move on. So there was a lot of like filters, and it wasn't easy. And plus there was a time, because we didn't have a lot of time to do the inspection. I didn't have time to wait the perfect guy for everything that he needed. So this wasn't a big problem at the beginning, because I had almost 1 month, so it wasn't a big deal. By the time with the time, so moving to the end of the stay, I've started to feel the pressure, and it reflects on our relationship. I learned how to deal with this situation, because it's like the most terrible situation that you could face. The problem was that he was too ambitious, let's say that, with this the new guy, and from me, I didn't have such a time to find the perfect guy who fits every need. So in a part, I couldn't argue with him directly and say you have to stop to ask too much, because I don't have time. But I have to say that I don't practically have the time to wait another month, because I have to move